This is Omar Ahmed for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. We're in London ahead of big card at the O2. Buatsi Richards' final press conference wrapped up. This is the first time I've spoke to you since we've come back to America. How bad was the turbulence on that plane?
It weren't the best. As I said to you, there was a woman who really didn't like turbulence, who was absolutely screaming. I did fall asleep quite quickly though, so weren't too bad.
Were you and Frank Smith not screaming in first class?
I looked over, Frank was just fast asleep during the whole thing. I was looking for a little hand, you know what I mean, just to hold on, but he was sound.
Yeah, as I said, wrapped up the final press conference. Joshua Buatsi responded to Craig Richards, said that my ego won't be my downfall.
I don't believe, I was trying to get it out of Buatsi, right? I don't believe him. When I said to him, be honest, after that head-to-head, do you want to, basically what I said was, do you want to put more hurt on Craig Richards? And he said, no, I don't believe it. I don't believe him. Like, I'm looking at him over there. He's a very quiet, humble man, but he's a nasty, nasty man in the ring. And I thought Craig spoke really well. Like, I've been really impressed with both of them. And, Josh has been in front of that big limelight a lot in his career. He's headlined cards himself and stuff like that. And I just feel that Craig's just grown into this position. He's never really believed in himself. Like when he boxed Buglioni, it was a week's notice. Even when he boxed Bivol, I don't think he's ever really believed it. But I do feel that he really believes it this time, and that's going to help him in this fight. But it's a very dangerous, tough fight for both of them. And I'm looking forward to seeing it. Massive respect for both guys. But Saturday night, someone's going to get beat. And I think we'll get a great fight.
Does JB have a point that every fighter, a lot of people in boxing really have egos?
Everyone's got egos. Especially if you're competitive and if you're a winner. And he's right. And by the way, you should have an ego. Like, if you want to be successful in whatever you do, if you believe in yourself, I expect you to have an ego. The nice guys finish last everywhere. That's the reality. It doesn't mean you can't be a good person and a nice person, but let's be honest. The nice ones, the quiet ones, the ones that don't believe in themselves, where are they going? And that's really, I think, what Buatsi's saying is, I believe I'm a great fighter. I believe I'm going to beat you. It's not ego. Everyone should think like that. And if you haven't seen the head-to-head, watch it back. It was really good. It was two articulate guys that were almost having a debate rather than a punch-up. And I said before, there's two sides of Joshua Buatsi. There's the nice, humble guy, and you just saw that nasty side come out of himself a little bit. People like to see that. How often do you do an interview with AJ where all of a sudden he loses his rag a little bit and starts getting a bit feisty, and people go, oh, there he is, we loved that. And that's the same with Josh as well. These kids, they're tough fuckers. They've got it in them. They fight for a living. They're prize fighters. They're not normal. So sometimes you just got to stoke the fire a little bit to get it out of them. And if you haven't interviewed Buatsi yet, Umar, I hope you can do it this afternoon, because sometimes you can stoke my fire. Can't you, cheeky little fucker?
Always do. Do you think it's just mind games from Craig there to get into JB's head a bit?
I think he wants to let him know. I think he wants to let him know that he's not overawed, he's not intimidated, he does believe he can win. But I just think that's Craig growing into himself and his confidence at this level. Like no one stopped Rose more, apart from Dimitri Bivol, than Craig Richards when Bivol beat Canelo Alvarez, because Craig had a close fight with him and he didn't really do as much as he should have done. Now people will say, Bivol weren't very good that night. It's easy to say. You could say Canelo weren't very good that night. But that shows that Craig Richards is a real world-class light heavyweight. And I think he believes it now. And it's good timing, because he'll need to believe it to beat Joshua Buatsi, because Buatsi will come, with everything on Saturday night.
2 days away from fight night. How are tickets going at the O2?
Good. I expect to have about 5,000 in there, something like that. I think it's difficult at the moment off the back of White Fury doing 90,000 for anyone to sort of go to another event, a month later, or whatever it is, but pretty solid. I mean, more than we had for a Cody Sislak, and it will look good in there.
Fight like that, though, you thought maybe do a little bit more. Is that fair, Buatsi Richards?
Maybe. I don't think necessarily. I mean, I would have expected it to do 6,000, something like that, before we started. There's a lot of tickets, Umar. I mean, and again, coming off the back of a lot of boxing, and also, like, if you think about it, if 90,000 people went to that fight, pretty much every person that has bought a ticket or would have bought a ticket for Buatsi Richards went to that show. So you at the moment, you've got to spend again a month later. But it's a good crowd. I mean, sometimes you shouldn't get too spoiled. 5,000 or 6,000's a good effort. I mean, it weren't so long ago that we weren't really doing those numbers. But, I think would have liked a little bit more, and I think it's a great card as well. But solid crowd.
Okay, we'll tune into Dazn for that on Saturday night. Obviously, you spoke to Coogan yesterday, so just a couple of things he didn't speak to you about. Jarrell Miller's looks like he's set to return on Triller. Your thoughts on that?
Well, he owes me money, which is good because when he fights again, I'm going to get paid. Regarding fighters that fail drug tests, I mean, I do genuinely believe that sometimes fighters fail drugs tests that genuinely have made mistakes, right? And when a fighter fails a drug test, 99.9% of the time, they say they've made a mistake, right? So it's very difficult to judge who's made mistakes and who hasn't. And by the way, if you make a mistake, tough shit as well, but it is a different circumstance. Jarrell Miller has repeatedly failed drugs tests. The reason that I take it so personally with him is because he failed 2, or maybe was it 3, I think, don't quote me, 3 drug tests, I'm talking about 4 the Anthony Joshua fight. And when you read what it was, and you know that it was injected into him, I believe that he did that to win that fight. I believe that he did that to cause physical harm to Anthony Joshua in that fight. And I take that very personally, whether he cares or not. Right? And how many has he failed in his career? 3 again, I think, or something like that. So at what point do you turn around, and when you ever want to give the benefit of the doubt to someone, can you honestly give the benefit of doubt to Jarrell Miller? For me, no. But bans are put in place, and when bans are up, everybody has the right to do what they want. I would never work with him again. Maybe he don't care. And I don't mind Jarrell Miller. I think he's actually a good guy with a decent heart. But there's an underlying issue as to why this guy wants to do that. Okay? So I wish him all the best. We will never work with him again. Because not just about what happened there, but stuff he said as well, which anyway, don't really matter. And not for me. And I don't believe there's many. I mean, I think Adam Smith come out and said, I don't know, he said that he wouldn't work with him or would feel very uncomfortable working with him and stuff like that. And look, Triller, it's a bit different. I wish him all the best. And there's nothing personal, just not for me.
On the theme of heavyweights, it got leaked last night who Derek Chisora's fighting and what date and venue. Did you see those leaks on the contract?
Yeah, I did. And the fight's not signed yet. Derek signed his side. Adam Kanaki, which you're referring to, of course, looks to sign that if he's up for it, and we hope he is. It's a tremendous fight, and got everyone talking for sure.
Eddie,
be very careful these days, Umar. What's that? Everyone's watching.
Yeah, but you have to really zoom in to get those details.
People, there's a very clever people out there.
Eddie, in terms of this fight, when you were with Sky, if this fight was happening on Sky Sports, you'd get the Sky Sports News back in, you'd come off the Premier League. No?
Yeah. I mean, now it would, yeah. But when we were with Sky, it's a bit hit and miss. But yeah, if you're talking about, are we getting as much exposure as Sky? Probably not, because it's a bigger platform. But we're coming off the back of a tremendous run where our subscribers on Dazn, US, UK, global, are an all-time high for us. So I think we're in a great position. It's a great fight. We continue to put the best schedule on globally. Like the value, coming off the back of Taylor Serrano, we talk about UK customers. Taylor Serrano is a Sky pay-per-view all day long. We were planning to do it. And if we do the rematch at Croke Park in front of 80,000, it won't be pay-per-view again. So these are the kind of fights that we need to deliver. Canelo Alvarez against Bivol, non-UK pay-per-view. Canelo Alvarez just boxed Caleb Plant on pay-per-view in the UK previously. So you have to look at the value that's being delivered. And we continue, this week we got Metcalf against Leherada in Bilbao on Friday. We got a great show at the O2 on Saturday. It's a great product. And we're very happy, particularly with the pay-per-view performance, of how things are going. And, there's a lot of big things in the pipeline which will change a lot of things. And one thing you have to know about me is I'm not here to fuck about. So, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, my question was gearing towards, I know you said you got things in the pipeline, but at the moment, yeah, cool. You got people coming off the Premier League games, Sky Sports News. In terms of marketability, are you losing out on that?
I think we're a smaller platform than Sky, definitely. But you got Eddie Hearn, you got Matchroom. It's like it's another level.
Does that replace Sky and their push?
No, I mean, look, it depends what you want. The difference is we are a huge global promotional company. Is Dazn at the moment a smaller platform than Sky? Of course. But we made the move for a reason. And where else can I just promote Amanda Serrano against Katie Taylor at Madison Square Garden, Canelo against Bivol, going to Joshua against Usyk, going to Triple G against Canelo Alvarez, going to Taylor Serrano 2 at Croke Park. I could only do it with DAZN. And we're a global promotional company that needs a global partner. So, you know, I think the one thing that the great bit of the competitive nature is Sky, of course, have been incredibly financially aggressive with their signings, mainly, which is great for the kids and the fighters, because we were just talking about it with a couple of boxers backstage. Like, it won't last. It'll last another 6 months and everything will come back to normal. But these guys have just been paid 2-3 times more than we would ever value them at. And they've had it off, buying houses and all sorts. And that's great for a fighter because they deserve all the money they can get.
Last question on this. We know how vital the Premier League is in this country, Champions League as well. Can a sports platform in this country survive without football?
Yeah, of course. DAZN can survive with boxing. Our numbers are absolutely perfect in the UK to be sustainable. We don't need other sports to grow beyond the business that we're in. But of course, that's the ambition of DAZN, a huge ambition. And you've only got to look at other territories they operate in, whether it's Italy with Serie A. These guys are serious players. And you're not talking about other little ventures in boxing that have been in the past. You're talking about a major global organisation backed by serious people. And we left Sky with a vision. We didn't have to leave Sky. They were desperate to keep us. But we left. Ask yourself why and watch why.
Why should everyone watch on Saturday night Boetsi Richards?
They should watch on Friday night for Leharaja against Metcalf, which is going to be, I can't wait to get there. It's going to be an electric atmosphere in Bilbao. But on Saturday, you're going to see a great card. Chantel Cameron over there, I think, is one of the biggest pound-for-pound stars in women's boxing. Alan Babbage is in a great fight with Bowski at Bridgerweight. It's going to be really exciting. By the way, Robbie Davis Jr. against Molina is a great fight as well. Ellie Scottney against Roman, big step up for her. And Boetsi Richards is an old-school domestic fight that's going to be very entertaining. And I think it's a 50-50 fight, and I look forward to it.
Thank you for your time.
Welcome, Team Everlast, to the Team Everlast Fitness app. Download the Everlast Fitness app and find your greatness within.